Today, I think, is a very good podcast. Jeannie and my friend Margaret's first time on the podcast, are talking about sending their oldest kids to college and how dismantling that experience was and how no one talks about that and how their emotions were so unexpected for them. So I just texted Margaret to check on her because I saw her post of her daughter going to freshman year college. And she was like, I'm not doing good. And I was like, let's podcast about it and talk about it. And Jeannie said the same thing. I'm not doing good and let's talk about it. So that other people feeling the same way know that they're not alone. People talk about postpartum depression. They talk about all kinds of things where having kids in the different phases, how it affects you, but not this particular phase. So I think it was a really good conversation. So I hope you enjoy it. Even if you don't have kids you're sending off to college, I think it was really insightful about kind of taking care of yourself and knowing what you need and trying to fulfill those things and where you find fulfillment and how you can adjust that if your fulfillment comes from being a mom and that time is changing. So I think it was a really good conversation. So thanks for coming back every week. Please feel free to share this with someone you think may need the conversation. And email me if you have any suggestions for podcast ideas. Our podcast idea from last week was from a suggestion from a listener. So I think that's great. I'm open and all ears. So I guess enjoy this episode talking about sending your kids off to college with Margaret and Jeannie.
Wait,
How
we don't get
crazy.
Halston in here with us anymore?
No, I know.
Oh.
Halston was sad about that, but I don't really
sad
like
too.
Halston. I'm just kidding.
What?
I'm kidding. No, I was like, I think well, the problem was I built this room to be more of a multi-purpose room.
Right.
So like when Bert's assistant is here, they have a
Yeah.
desk.
I know, but he was like my little person.
I know.
Halston, I'll come to your wedding if you invite me.
Oh, stand in line. My kids are like, can we come to Halston's wedding? Halston just got engaged.
Oh, nice.
And his girlfriend used to babysit my kids. Or fiance.
Yes.
And so my kids are like, can we please come to Halston's wedding?
Yeah, it looks like it's
I
gonna
know
be a
we should all
beautiful
just
place.
crash it, Jeannie.
We should totally
We should road
We
trip to
buy really
Oregon.
nice gifts. I know he's listening.
Brooklyn, we buy really nice gifts, okay? So ladies, interesting topic today. You're a year ahead of me in sending your first kid off to college. What's going on with that?
I'm glad you're doing this because it's weird when you start going through it. It hits you so hard, but you think you're crazy. And then because no one ever talks about it. Like I'll see a post every once in a while on social media about someone who's bringing their kid to school. But because I guess mine wasn't going, it wasn't something that I was discussing with my friends until you're in it and you discuss it only with those people who are in it. It's not something that people talk about, and it is really, really hard. And I wish I knew a little bit before how I knew it'd be hard, but I had no idea the gravity of how hard it would be.
Do you feel the same way?
Oh my God. In April, I'd look at her and I'm gonna start packing for you, Mama. We are packing for San Diego. And then she left in August. So in July, everything was the last.
Yeah.
Oh,
We took her on Friday. And on Monday, I was at Whole Foods and she's gluten-free and we've got particular things she eats. And I'm loading up my basket and I looked down and I went, I don't need any of this.
oh,
So I left.
oh!
I just walked out. I was like,
Margaret, I cannot believe you had.
tissues.
Literally,
I have
You should
tissues.
just
Here,
put those
here.
in between us. I had and people are going to think we're crazy. Like your listeners who have not been through this will be like, they're crazy. But I had the exact same thing happen to me. I'm not kidding you. I was in Trader Joe's because my younger daughter was not coming with us, and we had a sitter staying at our house with her because we're going to Boston. And I was like, I'm not leaving them with no food. So I went to Trader Joe's to load up on food. And there are things that are very specific to each child, as you know.
Yeah.
And my cart was filled. And all of a sudden I looked at it and I was like, oh, she doesn't eat waffles. And I always bought 3 boxes of waffles because he had waffles with peanut butter for breakfast every morning. And I was like, okay. So I go back, put the waffles back. Oh, she doesn't eat meat. So the beef and broccoli and the orange chicken, these are all things only he ate. And I literally was in Trader Joe's sobbing.
Oh,
It
I was at the
painful.
I was at the Whole Foods in Playa Vista, and they're just young people. It's all Facebook, YouTube, all that. And they all just looked at me, and this one guy was like, "Lady, ma'am, can I help you?" I'm like, I just want to. Everything like, but before that, I thought I'm doing good.
Yeah.
And my friends were posting, kids who went earlier. I left my heart in Miami or something. Like
you see a lot of that.
Oh, okay, I see that. Like, she's my baby girl, my first one, but I still got my Isabel. It was the month before it just started, and I'd have I never experienced. You heard the term lump in your throat.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard that. I don't know what the hell it meant. Okay, I know what it means now.
Yeah.
You do?
Oh my God.
Or your heart at your feet. All those things.
Oh.
You feel like your heart is being taken out of your body. It's such a surreal experience. As soon as you have children, that's your life. The way you plan meals, where you're going to go, who's going where. All of that change, it shifts, and it's such a huge shift.
Yeah.
I mean, my daughter doesn't really eat dairy or meat. So I was a short order chef for a lot of years because my son is meat and potatoes. Well, meat and potatoes just went to school.
Yeah.
So now what we're cooking is completely different. I'm making poke bowls at night and stuff. It's completely different than what it was. And he actually was he has a big group of friends, but he was really a homebody. I mean, you knew him, you know him pretty well.
Yeah.
And we did a lot of sitting on the couch and watching movies and shows together. There's a lot of shows that we watch with him. Mm-hmm. Now, I have to text and be like, we're watching without you. Did you already watch this week? Just so then we can catch up,
Yeah.
And talk about it.
And try to keep him communication with him every day.
And then it's really hard to FaceTime with him because he has 2 roommates and it's embarrassing for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I find him I'll be like, can you FaceTime? He leaves and goes out on the street or somewhere. He's in Boston. And so then it's really loud. And I want to see him in his natural setting now. And I feel like I can't do that because they don't really want to do that. They're embarrassed. And
the timing's never right. You never know what they're doing. It's really weird not knowing. I knew that, in high school, you knew their classes. I knew their schedule. I don't know. I just know she has classes.
So, they're somewhere in the world, but that's about it.
Yeah. And when you see, when you do your Find My Friend and you see them.
Yes. All right. So there was one night. So he's in Boston and there was one. He tends to stay pretty close to his campus. But he had said he's playing lacrosse there. So he was going to a senior's party. Mm-hmm. And I knew that. And I'm trying not to be that mom who's nervous all night about where are you? But I did. I shouldn't have done it. I should have just turned it off. I did the Find My Friend and he's across the river. He's so far from campus. He was the L, but 2 transfers.
Wow.
And I was like, did you take the train there? And he's like, yeah, I know the train really well. And I'm like, well, how are you getting home? The train. What's going to be really late? I just was so paranoid until I saw that little dot was back in his dorm.
Oh my God.
All night long, I was like, is he back in his dorm? Is he back in his dorm? Yeah. But
is there anything you could have done to prepare yourself now in hindsight? Is there something you could have done? Because what's happening at my house is Bert is already last Halloween. Last Thanksgiving.
That to me. I'm like, stop, it makes me cry.
Oh, you're already.
But we were in COVID, so there was no last anything.
No.
We didn't know our last were our last.
No, right?
Because it just, well, luckily, I do feel the blessing of I had time. We had more time with them than we would have had COVID not happened. He was home all the time. He was in class. And I do think in a way it helped really prepare them for college because they had to be on their schedule and at their desk and doing their work. And it was just interesting. I said to him, I feel like you're already in college, his senior year, because all of a sudden he'd be in class and then he'd come out of class and he'd go get something to eat and then he'd go back into class. And I was like, this is kind of like being in college.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But we never know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Having
oh
them
my
cook
gosh.
for
Yeah,
that was imperative.
Georgia too,
we really had to learn that. And
Yeah. Georgia started cooking hardcore in the pandemic. Yeah.
Yes. Because I work full time from home. So I was like, I can't. If you guys are home for lunch, don't expect, or even breakfast. I mean, they're home. I'm not making it. You have to figure that stuff out yourself. This is my schedule.
Isla just stopped eating. She was like, I don't want to bother. I don't even care about cooking. If Georgia makes extra, I'll pick some scraps.
That's Grace and Isabel.
But she's like, I don't want to. I
That's
can't
too
bother.
much of a bother.
Can't
Because
bother.
then she's like, I know I have to do the dishes and I don't want
Exactly.
to
She can't bother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so she ended up eating grab and go stuff.
Yeah, whatever she could find that didn't.
Grab and go. Not even assemble a sandwich. Too much.
Too much.
She's got it
that'll change because Grace was like that before, and I have this group, this moms group. It's a Facebook moms group that one of our moms made, and they always put, there's like 2,000 women. It's in the West Side, and one of them will say, "I need help. My adolescent's going through this," and you just get so much great advice.
Yeah,
and
amazing.
It is. And one of them was, "What do I prepare my my senior for college? What do you do?" And a lot of the moms had good practical advice. Like, and I thought about this: girls need to take a self-defense class.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Already. My 19-year-old's not going to take one now. I missed that boat.
Oh, we did it in Girl Scouts.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. We did it last year.
Good.
Or the year before the pandemic for the older girls. We took a self-defense class. It was amazing.
That's what I need to do.
It was amazing.
I'm not worried about Isla.
I'm not either.
She can kick some butt.
She might be a little scrappy. If they took her, they'd bring her back real quick. They'd be like, "I found something that belongs to you, I think." And Georgia actually has become a super powerful person.
Yeah.
Like her physical body has become pretty powerful. You know, she works out
It's good to be
with
strong.
a trainer once a week, and the trainer's like, she is like a hoss. She
That's
can lift a ton of weight. Like she deadlifts like 185 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
She's like I wouldn't mess with her either much.
Yeah. Well, so one thing that I would say is you're going to have friends, obviously, because Georgia's your oldest, and you tend to have more friends of your oldest child, because then by the time the youngest one comes around, you're like, the docket's full, like no room for new people.
That's so funny. We're the opposite because we moved to the Valley.
Right. So
when my youngest started kindergarten, and
Yeah.
everybody kind of bonds in that kindergarten year, and the second graders were already established.
Oh, right.
So I had a harder time getting close.
Well,
to
that's
George's
because everyone's
group.
like, you're just like, I have a hard time just seeing the people I want to see, and so no room for new people. But just with them, like have coffees and talk, and like know that like I thought I was crazy. I thought I was going a little crazy because I was so emotional, and I felt really edgy all the time. Like it was super surreal. And then I would say something to someone else and they'd be like, I feel that way too. Like you know me, I've never been a really edgy person. And I was, and I still am, I feel like still coming out of it, or maybe I'm just changing. I don't know. But like, I felt on edge all the time. And I also tried to, like the summer before we were leaving, this whole past summer, of like letting him like choose certain things. Like, so there were like the whole like week before he left, every night he chose our dinner and he was allowed to choose what we watched. So whether we ordered or I cooked it. And then, but there was one night that Dunkirk is one of his all-time favorite movies. And so we were watching Dunkirk for like the umpteenth time, but he was allowed to choose. So we were lying on the couch. We have done thousands upon thousands of times in my house, all four of us. And I was lying there and I was crying. And I did not want him to know that I was lying there crying. But all I kept thinking is, moving forward, when we do this, he's visiting.
Try doing it without him. Isabel and I tried it the other night. We just gave up. Like,
He's
she'll
just
come home next
visiting.
weekend.
It's never, the whole dynamic has shifted and he's visiting. Like I just booked Christmas. He's home for 3.5 weeks, but he's got to see all of his friends too. He has tons of friends he wants to see. He's been in Boston. Like he doesn't get to see anyone on weekends or anything. And so like, I'm looking forward to that 3.5 weeks, but it'll be come and go in a second. And he's visiting. Is he going to have time to just every night lie on the couch and watch something with us?
No, he's not going to want to do that every night.
So
does your
it's
house feel
totally
really empty?
Yes.
It does.
The dogs, one dog in particular, Allie, sleeps on his bed every day, all day.
Yeah. I had to start shutting her door because we have a puppy. We had a COVID. My kids surprised me with a 50th birthday puppy who has inflammatory bowel disease.
Happy birthday!
Yeah.
Oh my God!
I'm worried about having too much extra time, clearly.
So we got through that, but now we're losing. Do you remember Pierre Bozier?
Of course I remember Pierre Bozier. Of course.
He's like, I when after I leave, I've got to get, he can't even walk. I am forced.
buddy.
And she comes home, it's her first week at home on the 1st. And we knew this was coming. You know, we have a plan. And she's like, I'll come home before and I'm like, we had talked, me and Pierre, because before I came, I'm leaving him for the longest time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, don't die today, Pierre.
Oh my God.
You got till the 2nd.
Yeah, you got to hang on.
Because she needs to see you. I'm going to have to put him in the
Yeah.
car and drive down. But he was her kindergarten gift.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he's been around a long time.
He has.
That's
He
an
really
old
had a
dog.
good long life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a good dog too.
He was a good dog.
real
He's
good
my little
dog.
guard dog. Yeah. So that's been, not thank goodness, but ever since he went downhill the day she left. It started the day.
He just knew, right? He was
just
probably
giving up.
waiting. He
Like-
was probably waiting to get her off to college. And then she's ready. Now he can go. Oh my God.
I know.
That's so heartbreaking. And so you have to close her door. You
I
can't.
can't close it because that's honestly where Allie sleeps. And so like Allie will be really upset if I shut that door.
Well, my puppy goes in there and digs things out. You know, she can open drawers and she's clever, this chocolate lab.
Oh yeah, they are chocolate lab. That's all you have to say. I had one of them growing
10-4,
up.
10-4,
Yeah, totally.
right? 10-4. I've never had any labs, but I've heard a lot
Allie's
about
a
them.
yellow, but the chocolates are definitely more energy.
Oh, she is. And Grace was her walker, so I'm missing that too. But it's crazy. I never thought I'd miss the mess.
No.
Oh, yeah.
I can't believe she was a messy. Life, her last year, she was going and coming, especially at the end of COVID when they could. Her clothes everywhere. And now there's, and Isabel's just a neat little thing and just not, Grace was a mess. She was an hour and a half of extra cleaning every day and it's gone. And I miss it.
Wow.
I miss her laundry.
No, who says that? You do that. It's okay that you say that. I want to know all this stuff because I feel like I might be okay, but I feel like Bert Kreischer is going to be a hot mess.
Yes, he will.
He's going to be destroyed. We've established many years ago who was the male and who was the female emotionally in my relationship. He's definitely the female emotionally. And he's already a wreck at everything that Georgia does. He sometimes is suffocating with her. And I have to go, I would be worried if she weren't out on a Saturday night at 17 with her own car. Wouldn't you be worried if she
Right.
was like, I just want to watch movies with you every Saturday night? I'd be like, hold on, what's going on here? Shouldn't you have a party or a
Right.
friend you want to go see?
Yeah.
But he wants to sit on her like an egg for this last year and let her hatch,
Aw.
That's what I wanna do.
It's very sweet. It's very sweet.
You
but
can't
to
stop
me,
taking care of them. That's
All right,
what's
so
hard,
mine is
giving
the
that up.
reverse. My son did all of his own cooking and all of his own laundry and actually was pretty neat. So his roommates are stoked. But my daughter is a hot mess.
Yeah.
I still do her laundry. I fold it. I put it on my bed. I have to literally restrain myself from putting it away in her room. But if I do, her drawers will make me crazy.
Uh-huh.
Then you're
Because
down there refolding.
it's Pandora's
Every-
box.
Yeah.
Pandora's box. You
every
can't open
6
it.
weeks, I take every single one of those drawers and refold them and put them back.
No.
Only to 3 days later have them be destroyed. So I leave it all on my bed and then she comes and I walked by today. I had done so much laundry this week and it's all just in stacks on her floor. She didn't even put it away because she probably can't deal with her drawers either. So I feel like I failed there a little bit, but I have 2.5 years to redeem myself.
There you go.
See, that's what I thought too with Grace, but I went and saw her last weekend and she is very neat. And they're all taking turns taking out the trash and they have a shared kitchen, living room space, and then 2 in bedrooms and bathrooms. And she and her roommate, they just said, we're very neat. They keep the bathroom very neat.
That's
I was
great.
So there's hope.
I know. No, listen.
There's hope.
She turned, when we were going with cleaning up and going with the trash, I'm like, oh my gosh, she turned into me. Because I was worried. I thought, who was going to live with you? I said
Yeah,
that to
right.
her. I said, who is going to live with you? You have to pick your stuff up. And it turns out she was just letting me do it, throw me a bone.
Well, I think it's because we do. So then
because
that's
you do, yeah.
And that's why, I said, what if I don't do the laundry? Then that sweatshirt that she always wants to wear to school. And my husband's like, then she won't have it. And then
Yeah,
maybe
right.
she'll do her
Maybe
laundry.
you should do her laundry. But I was a disaster as a teenager in high school because like what you said with Grace, I was never home.
Yeah.
I was dropping my shit and going somewhere else. I had cheer practice, I had a boyfriend, I had tons of friends. I was never home. I was in the road. So my dad said he used to think he'd get snake bit in my room because it was just everywhere. There's shit everywhere. So he just closed the door because it was. Now I was required to keep the common area clean, which I would do.
Yeah.
But my room, forget it. And then when I got on my own, when I went to college and had a roommate, I was perfectly neat
You
because
were?
I was accountable to someone
Yeah,
else.
that's exactly what I'm experiencing.
Yeah.
I guess they just don't think of
Yeah.
themselves as accountable to us, which they totally should be. Okay, so I just saw this TikTok video and I was cracking up because I was thinking about doing this in Sasha's room. I forget if it's like an animal food or if it's like some sort of feed, but it looks like mouse or rat poo.
Oh my
It's like those
God.
little black.
Oh my
We
God.
all know what that looks like, right? We've
Yeah,
all
yeah.
at some point walked in and been like, "Oh shit, I
Yeah.
have a mouse or I have a rat." And so the mom was kept saying to the daughter, "Animals are going to start growing in this room,
Yeah.
and if you don't start cleaning your room." So she put it in little areas all over the bedroom. And I was like, oh, I'm totally going to do that. But if I did it, I'm sure she just wouldn't say anything. She'd be like, sweet, there's a mouse in my room. Because she likes animals so much.
I tell my
Another roommate.
I say, if you guys eat in your rooms, you'll get spiders, and that really helps. Like that, get the dishes
Spiders?
down. During COVID.
If
Oh
only
my
it was
God.
spider poo you could put out.
The dishes that came downstairs during COVID.
Oh.
I would go up with like a platter or a bowl at some point.
What is that noise? Do you hear that noise? It's water.
Yeah.
He's
I
like,
can't
no,
stand the food in the room. I hate that.
I do too.
I hate
Yeah,
that.
I
I
hate
tell
that
them that's how
too.
you get spiders. I don't think it's how
I know.
you
I
get
told them that's how they
spiders.
get roaches and rats. So what
It's
is
creepy that I've been sitting here listening the whole time.
you have? You know, it's funny. I thought some of this you should be involved in, but
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
I want to know how Darren and Matt are doing. Like, what's the juxtaposition of of you with your spouse?
Well,
with
and we
this?
don't know each other or our spouses, but so just like Margaret, I did a lot of crying the month leading up to it. I was a little bit of a mess. A lot, not a little bit. I was a lot of mess, and I was different. And to my friends, to my family, something was off. Something was wrong with me. I think I told you that. Like, I just did not feel myself and felt like I was going to lose my mind at any given moment.
Wow.
And then we got to Boston and I was okay. I think because I was laser focused. You know, like with COVID, especially, like the moving in is very specific. I'm a very scheduled person and we had to do this and we had to do that. And I wanted to do this. And I was like very focused on us having this really nice time before we moved him in and really nice meals and had made great reservations and all this stuff. My husband was a mess. He was fine before we left. The day that we were moving him in, you know, like we're lying in our hotel room. I'm on my phone, just like going through emails. And he's sitting on the end of Elijah's bed. And I thought that he was like brushing his teeth or on his email.
Aww.
And then all of a sudden I look and his hand is on his leg and he's bawling.
Aww.
And my son was unaware as well. He's on his phone. So I said, Elijah, I think your dad is having a moment. And he got up and they hugged. And then I like cried a little bit. But even then I was like, wait, why are you so okay? And then my husband, Darren, went over to the window, looked out the window for another like 20 minutes and bawled.
Aww.
When we dropped him off, when we walked away from the dorm, he was hysterically crying. My husband was. Like, I had to console him, bawling. Like, we've lost people. I've never seen him cry like that.
Wow.
Ever. He was a mess. And he came home and he's cried. There was one night that Elijah texted us a picture when we had friends over, and he texted us a picture of him and of all of his friends out at dinner, which we were like so excited to get. Like, it's like Christmas.
sure.
You know, we're like, yeah, no, I live for that.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll show you the picture afterward. But we were so excited, and I was like, looked at it, was happy, and then went on talking to my friends. And then my daughter comes out and she's like, Mom, Dad's in the kitchen crying.
Oh, Darren.
And I was like, he is? And she's like, yeah. And so I walked in. I was like, like something happened? And he's like, that picture? And I was like, but he's so happy. He's so happy. You know, like, I think what I keep saying is he's really happy. He has not struggled since he got there. He is very genuinely happy. I am so happy for him.
Sure.
I am so sad for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the only way I can put it is it's so good for him. It's so sad for us.
Yeah. But it is happy for you too. It's got to be what you want your kids to do.
I'm just happy. Like seeing her. Like I got to go see Grace last weekend, and
Aw.
she had all of her friends over in her dorm and made breakfast for 16 girls and wanted to surprise me. And of course, I showed up 2.5 hours late because I didn't know San Diego traffic. Because it's like worse than LA.
Yes,
Yeah.
terrible.
It's just a whole different. I forgot the question.
But Winter, how are the difference between you and your husband?
Oh, my husband. Well, so my husband travels a lot. He's gone half the year. So like Leanne, I've just been the mom. Like my husband's gone 6 months out of the year. And then I pull the kids out of school and we go join him for 3 months out of the year. Every single year since Grace was born.
Yeah.
This has been my kids have been lived somewhere else for 3 months of their life, every year of their life. And so Matt's used to it, I think. I think it's hard seeing her like turn into a young lady. Like that is the transition from her going to be just our little high schooler to now she's this college student we had to turn over medical. Nobody tells you that. Like you have to get, when they turn 18, to take them to their doctor and have them sign a form saying my mom now has access to my medical records.
And then you have to get it notarized.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because when they go to college,
that.
I didn't know that either.
It's called Mother.
And that's when you cried. Did you cry? I didn't want to sign that.
What's the
Right?
website? There's a website that just can take you through it.
I was like, how dare you take my rights away from me?
Yeah. What is it called? It's like Mother Hubbard or Mother something. There's a lot of them, but I'll send it to you. But there's a website that will take you through the whole process. But basically, God forbid something happened to your child where they are injured or hurt in college, you have to retain the authority to make decisions on their behalf.
You have to legally
You have to
retain
legally
that.
do it.
Interesting. I
And you
didn't
have
know
to get
that.
it
I didn't know
notarized
either.
and everything.
There's another
Wow.
thing nobody prepared. You know what? How I knew is my doctor, I share with my daughters. I love her so much because she's exactly my age and her girls are exactly my girl's age.
Oh, wow.
So oftentimes we just all three go there. And that she was the one who said it to me. Her daughter got dropped off at Berkeley 2 weeks before Grace, and she did Grace's physical before she went in and the COVID stuff. And she says, "How you doing?" And I'm like, I was a mess the whole way home. I literally cried in traffic from San Diego to Los Angeles the whole way home. And it was that horrible where I couldn't,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my husband kept looking at me, and Isabel's in the back seat going, "Mom, oh my God, you're going to become a level 5 Klingon."
What is that? I don't even know.
Apparently that's me now. So I'm like, now I have to be careful. I text her before I go upstairs. Can I come sit in your room we used to play cards in her room at night? And now she's like, "Want to have some space?" But she misses her sister too. I'm
Of
really
course.
mourning. Like, I think she's probably taken it harder than any of us. Like, I've been visual. Like, I can't even. I did not think I was going to cry. I thought I was going to be happy. I was going to redecorate that room. I was getting carpet in. Now I can't go in there. Now I don't want to change anything.
I was going to move because, once my husband started working from home, he took my office. So I moved my office into our bedroom, and I was going to move into Elijah's room and put a bigger desk in there. And he kept joking with everyone, "My mom's moving into my, making my room an office." I was like, "I'm not making it an office. I'm just going to have a desk in there. And when you're home, I'll move back to my desk in my bedroom." But like with multiple monitors, it's just hard, and I can't do it either.
And
Can't do it.
And I
No,
think
it's
that's
his
one
room.
of the
I'm not going to touch his room.
I think that's one of the reasons I keep the doors shut, because I have to pass it on the way to the lawn. And I do say the dog, I don't want the dogs in there, but every time it's so clean, and there's no evidence of,
Right.
no, it's not a pair of shoes, it's not a towel on the floor that I can get mad
the
about.
towels on the
Yeah, right.
The towels on the
But to be honest with you, and Bert makes fun of me about this, but when we were looking at houses and when we bought this house, I kept saying, I want the master on the main floor because I don't want to have to walk by my kids' rooms anywhere in my house. Like, I can't have any kind of pathway that includes their rooms when they're
Okay,
gone.
Leanne, you know my house. I have one
Yes,
pathway.
you have no choice.
I literally have one
No
main
choice.
hallway. There is no. Anywhere I go, I have to look into my
she
children's
goes
bedroom.
kitchen, bedroom, and their master. She has no choice.
I don't even go upstairs anymore. In fact, my back's been out, so I leave everything in the bottom of the stairs. And
It seemed like such a good idea when my kids were little, and now I'm like, what were you thinking?
I will tell you though, when we did that, our girls couldn't have been so farther from us. That was hard because we're downstairs and the girls were up and around and down and like if you ever had to get to them, like we'd race each other all the way down the hall and up the stairs. And that they never felt so far away except when they were infants. And,
Right.
And in fact, that we let Isabel stay in our room for an extra year just because I was too tired to go up the stairs all the time.
Yeah.
But now I love it. Now it's like we have our own apartment down here and they've got their own up there.
Yeah, I like that too here, and I'm looking forward to that. Not walking by their rooms, I think.
Yeah.
And
It's a whole other
heartbreaking.
level of anxiety.
It is.
so, speaking of siblings, you brought up Isabel. How's Sasha doing?
So she, because they're boy and girl, they were like close. They look out for each other, but they weren't like hang out close,
They're very different.
They are night and day.
They are very different. yeah.
But that being said, they text constantly now.
Oh yeah.
So she'll tell me something that I didn't know. Like she'll be like, "Oh, Elijah, you blah blah. They did this," and I'm like, "Wait, how do you know that?" And she's like, "Oh, he texted me from the restaurant," and I'm like, "Oh, because there was something at the restaurant that he knew that she would love," and he was like, "When you come,
He
because
is
she's
such a
coming
sweet
with us in
guy.
October." For Parents Weekend, he's like, "Oh, we should go to this restaurant. You're gonna love it." But they text. She said probably 20 times a day. So she feels like she's talking to him more now than she did when they lived across the hall from each other.
Right.
So,
Interesting.
yeah, and she'll get emotional sometimes. Like Ted Lasso is our big family show right now. It's like the one show that our entire family loves. That and anything Marvel. Like that's what we always watch together. And so every, weekend when we're watching our new Ted Lasso, she'll be, she's like, it's so sad. I feel like we should have all agreed to not watch them and then waited till he gets home. There was no way that was going to happen.
No,
but
no,
I can't wait.
That'd be too
That
hard.
new season, it's so good.
So good.
I lived in that neighborhood,
Oh, you did?
Richmond.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that kind of stuff. So that, and she cannot wait to get there in October. She used to not want to hear about going to the same college as him. She was like, I'm going to school in New York. I'm not going to go to school in Boston. Now she did that like college test and pairing, and it did come up in like her top 5 schools.
No way.
And so now she's like, he'd be a senior when I was a freshman. That'd be kind of fun. And now she's actually into it. And so I think it's been okay for her. She gets sad, but I think that it actually will make them a little bit closer.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. And Isabel's having a hard time.
Isabel's having a different, because Grace and Isabel were so close. They were, they had to be each other's best friends. They didn't have anybody else, when we travel. So Isabel, that's why I think that Matt, I feel like he's handling it better. Although he did say something funny to me, because the whole week after Grace was gone, just along the week, people would check in, and like people I hadn't heard from like 20, because like I posted first day of school pictures.
Yeah.
And it was Grace's first day as freshman. And Matt comes to my, it was like the people dropping stuff on my front porch. I had a flower arrangement and just fun, like
I
just
didn't get that,
checking
Leanne.
in.
I know.
And
Sorry.
I was like, Leanne just
Failure.
checked in. I am, but Matt was like, no one has checked in on me. No one.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, that's really,
And meanwhile, in your case, people are going to be needing to check a number.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And
But
I
did
don't
people
know that
check in on your
anyone knew
husband?
that. No. And he was a mess.
He
Oh.
was.
And he still is more emotional. Weirdly, I'm not as emotional anymore. I was super emotional leading up to it, but now I think I've just resigned myself to it.
Mhm.
And I feel very proud that he's happy and he's okay.
Mhm.
Even though I'm sad and miss him, I feel like we did our job.
Yeah.
I do. I feel like I should be able to pat myself on the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but
You
I-
absolutely should.
I just didn't want to, it's the final, it's just,
Yeah. Well,
That's
is it?
I hear you. It's because it's never good. The 4 heartbeats that were under that roof for our entire family, it will, anytime that we're all there again, he's visiting.
Yeah. That's.
It's
crazy.
never just us and our schedule
Mhm.
again.
Yeah.
And that's the finality of that.
Well, it's like a death.
It's really hard.
is.
As you're describing it, it sounds like a death or a metamorphosis, perhaps,
Yeah.
right? The caterpillar turns into a butterfly.
yeah.
This
'Cause
is
it's
what you
beautiful
want
watching
for them.
her. Like,
Yeah.
she's so happy.
Yeah.
She landed, she worked so hard to get herself there. I mean,
Yeah.
she really, as an exceptional high school student and athlete and leader, and she just really, she got into every school she applied to.
That's great.
She got Cal Poly Slow.
Wow.
It's like so inexpensive. I can't believe we didn't force that on her. Anyways, she's so happy. And that's like, so, but I did it again the other day, driving away from her.
Yeah.
Don't look in the rearview mirror, whatever you do.
Oh.
I almost
Yeah.
wrecked my car. I'd taken a drink. I went down to the bottom of the hill and I got a coffee and I said goodbye to her. And she walked off for her study group. And I got in the car, it's right on the freeway. And I took a drink of coffee and I just looked up for that last view of it on the top of the hill. And I started choking.
Oh.
And then I'm like, oh my gosh, what do I do? I'm in traffic. But it was that lump in my throat.
Mhm.
So when I saw the pediatrician with Isabel right after I got home, we were talking, comparing, and she's like, it took her a week because she works full time and sometimes her daughter's out by the time she gets home. And she said it took her a week to do it. And that's when I was like, okay, well, I have this thing and I don't know what's happening. I think I have cancer. But every time I swallow, I start choking. She goes, haven't you ever heard of lump in your throat? I'm like, whoa. Okay, so why does it keep happening? Because it happens all the time. It's like little mini panic attacks. Every time I realize
Aw.
that she's far away and I can't take care of her anymore.
Yeah.
Yep, that we can't be there in a moment's notice. I did say to my son, if you're going to go across the country, because he was only looking at East Coast schools, you have to be in a city where there's a major airport and you are,
Nonstop flight. I
can
said that
get
too.
on a nonstop flight within an hour. And
Yep.
thank God, like he can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can book that if he needs to come home for any reason. I can. But the looking back, so I couldn't really. There wasn't like an opportunity for me to look back because when with COVID, like everything's very precise.
Mhm.
They go get tested, then you bring them in. You have a 3-hour window to move them in, and once you say goodbye, there's no going back. Like
Right.
that's it.
That's crazy.
But I remember so my
really
brother
intense.
It
is
is.
like 8 years older than me. So I think I was in middle school when he went to college. And he went to school. We were in Ohio, 5 hours away from us. And I went with my mom and dad to drop him off. Honestly, probably just because I was bored. Like, 'cause I can't imagine any other reason I would have gone. And I remember my mom. So this is like parents had kids a lot younger back then. My mom had him, I think, at 23. So she had just turned 40. Her favorite story ever is that she got into the line to check my brother in, and she has a cute little black bob, and he was wearing these big Jackie O sunglasses. And the woman goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, sweetie. This is the boys' check-in. The girls are over there."
Oh my God.
My mom was like, "Oh, I'm checking in my son. Thank you." But she was like 39 or 40, you know, when she was bringing her oldest to school, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Because I was bringing mine to kindergarten. But
Yeah, right.
But I remember it so well. We were in our white Pontiac Le Mans station wagon. We dropped my brother off in front of his dorm, but we went out to lunch, I think, after we moved him into his dorm. And then we were saying goodbye to him. We got into the car, and it was like, there was like an oval in front of his dorm, and we said goodbye, and he was walking into his dorm. But of course, my mom was staring back at him. And right before he's going to go in the door, he did this. My brother can have this really sad face that he has milked his entire life. And he turned around and looked. And I so remember it. And my mother lost it, was screaming to my dad, Dave, turn around. He turned around. He needs us to come back. He looked really upset. He looked really sad. And my dad's like, "Marie, we're getting on the freeway. We're going." And she literally did not speak to my dad the entire way home because she was livid that he would not go back to see if my brother was okay. There's no cell phone. So of course, as soon as we got home, she called him and was like, "Are you okay? Like, you looked really sad." And he's like, "No, I just was looking back, you know."
How funny.
I do remember it did look sad.
Yeah.
Him turning around and looking was sad. But my mom was like a total mess.
Yeah.
But he was her oldest. I think when they dropped me off, literally, they just like left me with my boxes in my room.
They
and were
slowed down and kicked you out.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's like, it's like going from 0 to 1 with kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm the youngest of 3, so they were like toodles.
Yeah,
like
right.
you're on your own. Yeah.
Peace out, Jeannie.
If I
Peace
had a
out.
third, they would be on autopilot.
So when you went to college, do you remember your parents? Did your parents get upset like this?
No, my parents stopped at Sam's Club and bought me giant vats of green beans and the boxes and pudding pops or pudding cups and tampons. Giant boxes. And I remember them leaving. I was like, they just left. They just left me here.
Hey, but you were all set for your once a month, right? You had tampons everywhere.
And those green beans will keep you normal and regular. And
Yeah, they got what they could, but what they thought was practical. Like,
Yeah. Here's some pudding, some green beans, and some tampons. That's
I
hysterical.
bet there were mandarin cups because I did love those.
Oh,
the
maybe,
little
yeah.
mandarin.
Yeah.
I have to say though, like now too, once you decide where George is going to school, like there's a Facebook page set up for every, incoming class of 2025 or whatever.
Yeah.
And you can only be on that page if you have your child's student ID. So it's like no one control it. It is literally only parents who have children starting. And there are some things on that literally like are a little bit crazy. And then you're like, whoa, like parents, we're crazy.
Like what? Like what?
I mean, you expect some parent to be like, "My daughter can't wipe her ass. Can someone go help her in the bathroom?" Like literally it's that kind of stuff.
What?
Like it's crazy town.
Okay, I've heard that too.
It's crazy.
These
I
kids
have
are
to
coming
stop going on
unprepared.
it. Yeah. It's a little like, my daughter can someone please help, or can someone figure out? And then just also like, I started getting really annoyed with it before we were moving them in. Just like all the questions, the incessant questions of like, like that's a you and that person question. This isn't for Facebook.
Yeah, the whole
group
forum
with like 2,000 people on it.
Yeah.
Like this is
Or I love it. That question was answered like 15 pages ago.
scroll
please.
up, lady. Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
So then I realized like,
Scroll up, lady. What's your problem? Scroll up.
Come on, we're all reading it. I'm reading it all.
totally.
Get the pudding pops out of the car and move on.
All right, so then
Come
you get a
on.
little bit of perspective because you are feeling crazy and
I
you'll start to
see.
feel crazy. And then all of a sudden you're like, "Oh, I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
Right.
Those people are crazy."
In the spectrum of crazy, I'm very balanced like that. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I don't even remember my dad being involved in me moving into the dorm at all. He may have been, but I don't have any memory of it.
Yeah.
It was no precious day.
No.
And I see that
It's very precious now.
it's
Yeah.
very precious
It
now.
was a circus. There's a circus in
And the
that door.
decorating.
The
oh my
decorating.
God. So
Oh
the
my
boys, I
gosh.
have a room with 3 boys. There was not a lot of decorating. There was like a Rocky poster that went up, some Tottenham stuff. I mean, like there was not a lot of stuff. The girls, the lights, the decor,
the wallpaper, the carpets, carpeting,
the poofs. The bedding. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Wow.
Mirrors on the wall, extra.
I couldn't believe the lights.
They said no nails, and Grace was like, "Oh, that's okay, mommy," because she bought a toolkit. Here's a good tip for everybody going into college that I just got for Grace is, first of all, you ship everything.
Yeah.
But Bed Bath & Beyond, when you're a registered student and you show that to them, you're a registered student, you get 20% off of everything for a month. And you don't have to carry no more coupons. Not one thing. Your entire order. So every time she placed an order on Bed Bath & Beyond, they give her 20% off
That's
the entire.
awesome.
Oh my God, it saved us hundreds.
Oh, I'm
and
sure.
hundreds.
Yeah.
And honestly, since we were going to Boston too, like across the country, and all 3 boys are from LA. So they were all going across the country. We showed up in his dorm room on the first day to move him in our 3-hour window. And all of their boxes were already in their room.
Amazing.
And also divided.
Oh, wow.
So like Elijah's stack was there. Ben's stack was there. Aiden's stack was there. Is crazy. I couldn't believe it.
Okay, hold on. So Elijah went, I know this, but I'm going to explain it. Elijah went to college with 2 kids he's known since preschool?
Infants. No, it was we were all in infant mommy and me class together.
And they're roommates too?
They're roommates.
How did you do that?
So, and honestly, the fact that they all ended up at the same school is crazy.
Yeah.
Elijah committed to that school like way far in advance because he was playing lacrosse. So we knew when he was starting senior year, that's where he was going, which was awesome because it took a lot of my anxiety and pressure away from what I had to do. But the 2 other boys were applying to several schools and had very specific programs they were looking at. And it just so happens that Emerson where Elijah's has great programs. One was film and one was a creative business program. And so when they started getting into the schools, like Aiden got into UCSB, he got into BU, he got into all these amazing schools. But like at the end of the day, it had the best film program and he wanted to go to the best film school. So once we just found out that the 3 of them were going, they requested to be roommates and they got it.
That's great.
But we didn't know they were going to get it for sure. We found out in April. And so
that's amazing.
Worked out really, really well. And then we're really close with their parents. So that also for me, because I think I'm probably more social than my husband. Would you say that?
I would say yes.
Yeah. So when we were in Boston, I'm with 2 of my best friends. And the 3 of us were having a really good time. So I think it was like a really healthy distraction for me.
It was good, yeah.
Because I was with them and they were feeling it just like I was feeling it. So every once in a while, the 3 of us would like share a hug or a moment and sit there and take a deep breath. And I remember us sitting in Boston Common, which is literally directly across from their dorm. And we sat on this bench watching the ducks and the 3 of us had a good cry. And that was it. Like then we like got up and we're like,
That's
okay,
great,
let's go shopping.
You had a little team. You had a little team there.
Yeah. But yeah,
That
so
makes
it's
it
nice. And
better.
I get to have them for 4 years.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I know. I'm excited.
That's awesome. Do you know anybody that went to the same school?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Grace
Good.
already like 30 people.
Oh, great.
So many kids. Her best friend from the school from her school down the street is there. We had them not live together. They are a little too clingy. I mean, like thick as the girls can be really, 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 really close.
Yeah.
So they decided, and I was like, if you guys, but they actually ended up applying at almost the same schools. They also used the same college counselor. She got into BU too, but it worked out for them. They both chose to go to the same school to fit their needs, and it worked out great for them. And they know there's some kids from Manhattan Beach, like Grace's roommate, she knows from Manhattan Beach, and they know. It's not a big school. A lot of LA kids are down there.
Yeah.
4 of my son's best friends are there.
Right now.
wait.
I bet you they know my daughter.
I want to ask you, but I don't know if you want it on the podcast. So I'm going to ask you if you don't want it released. Halston can bleep it. Where is she? Okay.
And that's another thing too. So I went back 2 weeks ago with my best friend Louise. Her sister lives down there in Cardiff, and we made it a girls' weekend. And Grace wanted a few things from her room, so I was just going to drop it off.
Yeah.
I know.
You're so lucky.
I know.
I have to send it.
I know. And then they took me out that night, and Louise just did this with her son last year. She sent him off to Iowa, and her sister, both of her kids had just done this. She's got one still at school, one out, and that's what I needed. I didn't. Matt looks at me like I have 3 heads. Sometimes like, why are you crying? Like, I don't know, that thing happened again. And I just leave the room. Like, I feel like I'm crazy. I feel like I've lost my mind. And I feel better now. But that first week, the dread the month before, that's what it was. It was this horrible.
The anticipation.
Yeah, it was to me, it was dread. I was like, I was walking and like I was pushing a huge, heavy stone. I didn't want to be moving anyway, really. But now that I'm away from it, and she does keep in touch, and I got to see her, and Parents Week is coming up. I feel better getting away from it. Mm-hmm. But I had no idea it was going to be. I was actually going to hurt. Like I was
physically,
literally.
Really.
I was just talking. That's what I was chatting with Bert about.
Yeah.
I do feel like I've gone a little crazy, and I don't know. It's like been a kind of a shit year, but like in a way, like I'm like trying to figure out like moving forward, like there's these things that are coming out of me and I'm like, was that always in me, or like am I changing, or what's happening? And if that is in me, like how am I moving forward with this now? Like it is your job, who you are, your identity is completely changing.
It's changing.
This has been our identity, and all of a sudden I'm like, what are you doing?
And it was the job you love the most. Like, I don't want to give it up.
I know. It is.
Interesting.
That's
That's an interesting perspective. It's a job you love the most and you don't want to give it up, and you have no choice.
And then
because to be good at your job, you have to give it up.
And it was okay. Like I have a job that I just do. Like not being a mom. It's like my actual job.
Your occupation. Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
I don't love it. And it's not fulfilling to me the way that volunteering or being a parent is. So then you start thinking, oh, like I have to refigure everything out.
Wow. Wow. So
because also, where's all my volunteer work?
Yeah.
At schools.
Yeah, me too. Like I don't even work because we travel too much. So who am I now? I
lose that,
this is an identity crisis.
And now, now my daughter started high school at a totally different high school during COVID. So I didn't have freshman year to get involved. Now she's a sophomore. I'm trying to figure out how to get involved. I don't even know. So I've lost that was like my way I found my connection and fulfillment was all this volunteering that
you could be
I've
on
done.
Campus. There's nothing, you know that. There's nothing better than
so now I'm like just
in their element.
Totally trying to figure it all out. And it does make you feel like you're going crazy.
This is really helpful to me because the stuff the surface stuff that my friends and I have been talking about when our impending empty nester status is like, well, I mean, I guess we'll just party more. I mean,
I joked about it.
Yeah,
all
same.
the time.
No, I'm telling you, in April, she got
Totally
sassy with me
joked.
once, and I go, you just wait, Missy, 5 more months, and I'm redecorating that room. And I was serious when I said
it was like the joke.
I've been wanting to change the carpet in that room for 5 years. And now it's precious.
Yes, you've seen it. We've seen it in like memes, and it's all jokey.
Yeah.
It's all very funny. And we joked about it probably to make ourselves feel better.
Yeah, I'm sure. And you just had no idea what it really was.
And that's when, so when you texted about doing this, I was like, I'm so glad you're doing it. I just don't think it's something that's talked about enough. And I think it's because until you're in it, it's really hard to explain it. And it's not something that like we go out and buy books and try to prepare ourselves for.
Yeah, because you don't think it's such a natural progression to life.
The books that I bought was try to prepare her to be separated from me. Like my favorite book is The Wonder of Girls. Do you know that book?
No.
Oh, I brought it for you because it's my favorite book. And so he actually he wrote this book, The Wonder of Boys, but I think, I don't know boys. I didn't read that book.
Yeah,
but I read The Wonder of Girls. And I read this whole part, how to prepare Grace to be away from me. And I'm going to send that man an email because when you text me and Leanne just checked on me and I'm like, she's beautiful. She's so happy. It's so great. And then she's like, well, how are you? I'm like, well, I'm not okay. Yeah. Like this sucks. Like nobody like that was when I was literally feeling this horrible pain. I just have no words for it. It was horrible. And so I would never do this. And I'm probably never gonna do this again, but this is one topic. No, but I did Mommy and Me. I was prepared for everything. I even have a group to get ready for menopause. Yeah. Nobody prepared me to rip my daughter out of my, it's like, I don't know. It's just the hard.
And I do think that because of our age, I'm turned 51 in June. I'm in like the throngs of that as well. So our body's changing.
Yeah, that's fun.
All of that.
Right.
And then this, it's like just a shit show.
It's not fair. After 20 years of all this hard work, I'm like,
And now
It's over.
Yeah.
But that just hurts them. I was going to celebrate. Y'all, I was going to have parties. I was going to.
Yeah.
I really thought I was going to deliver her to school and I was going to pat myself on the back because this is what we've been doing since they were born. All the preschools, all the piano, all the violin, all that stuff was to get her ready for this moment so that she can like just take off.
Yeah.
And just like grow. I feel like she's been this little tree I've been feeding for all these, now she can weather, I hope. I don't know.
She'll be fine. They'll both be fine. They're amazing young people. I haven't seen Grace in a long time.
Oh my gosh.
But the Grace I knew when she was younger, I'm not worried about her at all.
Actually, she scares me. I'm actually afraid of her. Truth be
She
told.
is a bit of a force of nature in the best way.
Yeah.
She's always been.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll never forget my dad came to visit one time and we went to one of your kids' birthday parties. I don't remember if it was Grace or Isabel. And Grace was in the literal top of a tree. Literal top of a tree. And my dad goes, "Whose kid is that?" And I went, "That's Margaret, Matt. That's Grace." And he went, "That girl's something else. She's something else. She's one to watch." And I'm like, "Yeah, she is. She is something else." That is exactly right.
Well, and I think what we do too is like you say things over and over again when people ask when you're getting them ready. Like it was always Jeannie's going to be a mess. Jeannie's going to be a mess. And, like leading up to it, I was,
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't like, even around my birthday, like I didn't want to celebrate my birthday. Like I was just miserable.
Me too. I was May. I was
felt fatigued.
taking a hard pass after 50.
Totally. I was like, I didn't really want to do any of that. And everyone was like, Jeannie's a mess. Meanwhile, like Darren is struggling.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that like there was no emphasis. And so like when you were saying Bert's gonna be a mess, Bert's gonna be a mess.
Yeah.
Like in a way you're distracting from like yourself.
Yeah.
And you're gonna be so focused on Bert being okay that you're not going to be as focused on making sure yourself is okay. Like,
Well,
that
you
you're
just
okay.
described my every single day of life.
Yes.
My whole life is focused on is Bert okay?
Matt's probably not been telling me because I'm telling you, I quiet. Well, it's just he looks at me sometimes like, oh my God.
Well, in my house, if someone is too fragile to make the boat go forward, someone's got to make the boat go forward. And that's usually me.
Yeah.
Right.
Like if Bert's too fragile, he can't deal with the steering wheel and he can't do it. So I have to just do it. Our wedding day, perfect example. He sobbed through our entire wedding. Sobbed the minute I walked in the door until the minute we left. He sobbed, and when it was over, he went, "You didn't cry at all. You didn't cry one time." And I went, "Buddy, I had to get us from A to B. You were such a mess. If I have been crying too, we'd still be at that altar. Somebody had to say I do. Hey, Bert, can you say I do?" Because he was just, he was a disaster. So that's exactly how our entire relationship is he's a disaster. We just saw.
Neither of your girls are like that.
No, they're
No.
not. You know why? Because like Matt, Bert was gone a lot. So I think some of that kind of environmental influence they missed out on. None of my girls are missish or anything. No, they're not. They're very kind of
Because I'm just thinking about
happy.
Georgia going. I think she's going to be fine. So you have
She'll
that.
be fine. She'll be emotional, but she'll deal with it privately. She's lately in her teenage years, she wants to deal with her stuff herself.
Yeah.
And then it's very rare that
trying
she
to
comes to me
separate.
with something. She's trying to
That's what
separate, and it's very healthy.
Yeah, and they're going like this. Like,
Yeah, I support that. I'm
no,
fine
I didn't.
with that.
I was
as
like
long as
level
she
5
knows.
Klingon.
Level
Me
5.
too. We're using that one though.
I know, right? That's a great one. I'm always like, I want to be what you need me to be.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you need me to be in everything, I'll be in everything. If you need me to ask a question from time, I'm going to be in it somehow. But if you need the minimal, that's why we got her a college counselor. It was really obvious from the beginning that she did not want me or Bert involved in her college choices, shopping process at all. And I was like, well, some adult who knows what they're doing has to be involved. So we're going to get you a private counselor. She keeps us informed enough that we ask questions to Georgia, and we haven't gotten to the place where we really have to make a decision yet. I think that's next week or so. And we just have kind of said, this is your deal. This is because that's what she wants.
Yeah,
she
that's what
wants
Grace said
it
that too.
to be her
Grace
deal.
found her own counselor. She's like, "Mom, call this lady and set it up." And
You
then
she
I
did?
yeah, we were actually touring UCSB when she returned my call. And I got the sticker shock. But I will say that was worth it because that was a hard year. Our freshmen, this was a class and a half.
Right.
Because of COVID and all the deferred kids.
Wow.
So it was tough. So, I mean, the fact that she got Grace in all the schools she wanted, I'm using her for Isabel.
That's great.
For sure.
And also, I feel like the benefit of having that college counselor is there's so many arguments that will happen between parents and kids. Just remove that.
Yeah, totally.
Eliminate that.
Yeah, I don't need to.
From your whole high school scenario. It'll make your years so much better.
Well,
But,
I think I'm speaking on behalf of Bert. I feel pretty confident that I am, but I don't care where she goes to school. I don't care if she goes to Valley College and transfers. I don't care if she takes a gap year. I don't care if she graduates from CSUN or wherever, as long as she is happy and engaged in learning and has a positive social life.
Yeah, and feels
Because that's
fulfilled.
what that's what you're supposed to do in college is build this social life, learn something you're interested in, and be happy. You know, it's kind of a put your big toe in what your adult life is supposed to be. I don't really care where that happens. I mean, we went to look at some schools in Colorado because she's interested. Because we said to her, you should go to college in a place you want to live.
That's what I told my girls.
Yeah. Where do you want to live?
Ended up in San Diego. It's San Diego or Hawaii.
I mean, we're not ever, my kids are not Ivy League kids. They're not kids. Nobody wants to be a lawyer, doctor. We don't need any kind of specific law school, vet school, engineering. That's not their path. Or I don't know what Isla's path is.
I was going to say,
yet,
Isla,
but-
didn't she want to be a vet at one point?
Oh, yeah, she did.
I remember
But
that.
a long time ago.
It was more like a farm vet, though.
Yes. She wanted a large animal vet. Can you see this 100-pound tiny girl with her arm in a cow's ass? It would never work. It would contract her into it. But yeah, so the backseat part of the college experience, I think, is apropos for Georgia's path.
Yeah.
She's not going to be. She has no interest in being a lawyer or doctor. She could.
Yeah.
She's very smart.
And I do think that that is another thing that goes on with the kids in high school is that there is this expectation that they're going straight from high school to college. I think a lot of kids this year did decide to do a gap year, and quite a few of my friends' kids did, and they're doing some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
But as we've discussed, my son and my daughter are night and day.
Yeah.
And she talks about wanting to go to college in New York and stuff. But she's very there's certain things that she's very talented at. I mean, she would love to be an actress, but we've also have to simmer that part down without breaking her spirit on it just because it can be so tough. But she's an amazing makeup artist. And I always tell her, that's an amazing career and you actually do have to go to school for it.
Yeah.
And there are amazing schools here or other places, but you could have an unbelievable career.
Yeah, totally.
And
She totally could,
being an artist and being creative. And that should be something that we're exploring as well.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to hear that right now. And I
old
just
is she?
wish she's 15 and a half.
Oh,
She's
yeah,
a
I miss
sophomore.
those years so much.
Yeah. So I just wish that because I think that she would love it.
Yeah. That's the thing is it's not okay to just do what you love anymore. I don't think
That's
if
so
it doesn't
sad.
fit in a box. My
Yeah.
dad loved working on cars, loved it. So he became a mechanic. It was just, that's natural. Owned his own business, owned his own shop for years. Happy guy. He's not a millionaire, but he doesn't really care.
No.
And I think so many perspectives now are you have to be so elite. I just read this, it's an article somewhere that said that no one is applying for or is going to school as an English major anymore.
How funny, because that's what we all were.
I was a
No,
history major.
right?
I was history.
No history majors, no English majors, no history majors. Everything is business, marketing, business, marketing,
That's a great
business,
sister.
marketing. And where you learn critical thinking is as an English major and a history major and an art major and all these kind of humanities focuses that are diminishing when kids go to college, they think they need an end game.
Yes. My son is sports broadcasting.
Yes,
Could it
it's
be
an
any
end
more
game.
specific
That is
than that?
specific.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I think what a shame because an English major could do 1,000 different things
Oh, totally.
or more. It doesn't, it's
I didn't
such
know
a
what I
shame.
wanted to do.
Oh, Bert's got a degree in creative writing, minor in Russian.
Well,
But you know how he got the minor. He slid by on that one, but it's creative writing. I mean, that you could go into so many different fields, and I'm encouraging Georgia to think that way.
Yeah.
Listen to this.
Think that
I
way.
worked at an advertising agency, a shy day, back in the 90s when it was the best place in the world
Yeah.
to work. I worked for 4 presidents while I was there, and not one of them had a marketing degree.
Wow.
Not one. One of them was the psychology. The first one actually was an Oxford educated engineer who only did it because his father made him. And then he graduated from college and got a job in the mailroom at Saatchi in London. And I ended up working for him. And then a UCLA psychology major who started out in finance at Chiat. And then the last one was an education major who literally just wanted to get the heck out of college. Tom Carroll, and now he was for president of the world. Not one of them had a marketing or business degree.
Wow. That's
and
amazing.
then the last one, Robert LaPlay, he worked his way, started out in Detroit in the mailroom. He did night school to finish be he wanted to be an account person, you had to have a degree. So they helped pay for it. And he worked his way through the mailroom. And he was the last president I worked for. Not one of them had a marketing degree.
Wow.
And
Isn't
I
that
tell
crazy?
my kids that all the time. I'm like, go to school, get a degree, figure out what you want to do.
Yeah.
If you want a larger education, we'll do it. Like Matt and I are all in.
Totally.
And I look at college, like Grace, I'm trying to think of it as like sleepaway camp. Like it's like sleepaway high school. Like what is it called when the kids go away to live at school that Tracy's friends do? What is
Boarding
it
school?
Boarding school.
Yeah.
Because actually University of San Diego is so tiny. It's such this beautiful
My
little.
son's school is really tiny too.
Yeah, you feel like they're in boarding school. That's what made me almost crash my car when I was looking up.
Oh.
He wanted small. He went to a small high school, like Georgia's high school.
Yeah.
And I remember like that was one thing that he texted me after his first day of classes. I was like, how was your first day of classes? And again, just like you, I have no idea what they were.
Yeah.
Like, which is so crazy. I mean, have we not known?
Can I get your login for
Every
school?
little bit. Oh, by the way, can't tell you how many people on that parent Facebook message board is how do I get my child's login?
No.
And by the way, there is someone from the college who's monitoring it who will always respond. Your child is in college. It's up to your child to monitor their progressions.
They should just put an audio file of "Let It Go."
It's great.
Let it go.
But he said, like, I was like, how are your classes? And he's like, great. like 18 kids in one and 16 in the other. Like, and he's so happy about that. And I was
That's
like,
great.
oh, I'm so glad. He just wanted that like smaller, still wants to know the teacher type thing. But now, all right. So now that we're here and our kids are gone and I'm now like trying to figure out who the fuck I am and what my identity is. I'm like completely thinking about doing something totally different. I don't know if it's going to require me to go back to school.
Really?
But I go on and look at jobs online for like that have nothing to do with, I'm like, how do I use all these years of sales experience and pivot?
Right. That's great.
But scary.
So you're looking into reinventing yourself a bit.
Well, just finding like something that this has been the most fulfilling job I've had.
Right.
And it's amazing, but it's coming to an end in 2.5 years.
And when you know what fulfillment feels like, it's hard to work in a place where there isn't fulfillment if you're not getting that fulfillment somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like I used to wait tables while I was writing. I was the happiest person ever to wait those tables because it funded my writing.
Yeah.
I see what you mean. That's really interesting.
So
now
now
that
I'm
fulfillment
trying
piece is gone.
to pivot.
You're looking, there's a whole different, I'm thinking, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I want to do something.
And there
Well,
has
you
to be a way. This is a whole nother podcast that we'll have to talk about. Because
Please.
literally, like I have a really good friend who's the head of HR at NBC, and she's like been trying to help me. She's like, would you want to do this? Would you want to do that? You're going to have to come in. Like, it's going to require you to take a pay cut. It's going to require you to come in lower. But I think that you could work yourself to here. And then I have to sit there and think, okay, are you willing to take that pay cut? Are you willing to start down lower? But like, I think I am. I mean, I don't really know. Or do I want to like, I don't know. I have to figure it out because I do think that a lot of my anger and what I'm feeling inside, this edginess is the holy shit, I'm losing the job that I've had that I liked. And I can't stop myself from losing it. It's going to happen. It's like my company's closing in 2.5 years. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
So you have this, there's a hole.
Makes sense.
And people said that too. Like there's a hole in my heart. I mean, hole in your heart. They're chambers. But now I know. Like,
But that's
seriously.
the lump in your throat, heart at your feet, hole in your heart.
Yeah.
I've left my heart here. Those are all things you're going to hear.
Dead inside.
Totally.
Oh, no, wait. That's
Wait.
what Bert calls me every day.
Right.
Dead inside.
That
She's dead
happens.
inside.
I've been feeling that too. But like, it like you have to like, that's another thing you have to prepare yourself for is like, where am I going? What am I doing?
Well, this is really good advice because I have a year. I mean, I feel like I have this podcast. I feel like
No, you do. You're very lucky.
I feel like,
well, I'm going to come check on you next. I will. I'll be that friend who comes.
well, thank you.
I will. Because
thank
that
you.
was so meaningful.
Come
a year
check on
from now,
my
Margaret and I will be
husband.
back.
I know, right?
We'll be drinking wine with you.
And I'll be going, I knew you didn't tell me I
decorated
made
guest
so
rooms.
I'll be like, I am doing, I'm a masseuse now. Like, I don't know what I'm going to be doing a year from now.
And I'll be crying. I didn't know it would be this hard. I know you said it would, but and I didn't know.
We warned you. We warned you.
I know. Sandy, my friend Sandy, whose oldest is 15.
It's just my daughter and
Is
she are friends. Yeah.
already freaking out about it. She's already, and I'm like, girl, you've got like, you got like 2.5 more years or 3 or whatever. There, she's a sophomore.
Okay, so every job that you have chosen or that Sandy's chosen, you chose because you were being a parent right now too. Like
Yes.
like my husband does his dream job.
Right.
I mean, ironically, philosophy major, but in
Right.
production.
Yeah.
So, he's been able to do, like, this is what he wants to do.
Yeah.
He didn't have to like find the job with the flexibility so that he
Right.
could help raise the kids. We choose our jobs as moms
Mhm.
based on us being able to be a mom. This is like
Yeah,
where
what
it's
fits in.
so different.
Yeah.
And that we need to
Exactly.
I
also
remember you
raise
on
these
Detroit.
kids.
You amazed me.
I did what?
Were you on Detroit?
Oh, when I
mean,
was
Leanne did
managing apartment
everything.
buildings.
Yes, all those apartment buildings.
I had so
all
many
those
apartment buildings.
kids,
I had kids, apartment buildings,
dogs. No, you didn't have a dog yet. Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I did Mona.
Yeah.
It was a lot. But
Yeah. So we choose that. So now all of a sudden, when we chose the job based on that, then you have to evaluate I no longer need to have a job based on me doing this anymore. What do I actually want to do?
such a great thing to bring to light, that perspective, because we spend so much time in the present moment as parents, right? You got drop off, pick up, soccer, got to get groceries, got to get dinner, got to get laundry, got to walk the dog, that sometimes it's hard to sit down and project ahead.
Yeah.
And say, well, what's my life 3 years from now going to look like? And how do I start now? Because I think that's part of transitioning, is to do it when the system that you're enjoying is still in place, right?
So it's not the shock.
So you're not like, oh my God, now I have nothing and now I have to work on this transition. You still have some of that safety, comfort going on in the middle of the transition, right? So that's a really good point. You should maybe start, people listening who are maybe in this position, myself included, should start saying, well, what does my day-to-day look like when they're gone, and how am I fulfilled? Or how can I maximize my my fulfillment in my life? Even if it is staying at the job that you're in that was flexible, can you shift that into something different?
Totally.
You know, it doesn't mean you have to change careers. It just means you have more time to focus on other things. I can't wait to write. I have so many things that I've been wanting to write that I just can't find the time for.
Yeah.
So as soon as I don't, you know, when I had kids, I said pushing pause on writing,
Right.
because I have to be fully present. And I'm not one of those writers that when someone's like, Mommy, I'm hungry, I don't go, fuck.
Yeah.
Stop interrupting me. That I can't
You actually
do
stop
that.
writing and go. Yeah.
Yes, and I'm angry that I've been
What
interrupted.
about when you and Bert had to go stay in a hotel to write?
Because I couldn't.
You had
I
to
couldn't.
leave.
We had to leave. We
Yeah.
we checked into the Universal Sheridan
Oh, I love that
to
one.
write a script because we could not get it done at home because
There's no
How long
way.
did it take you? How long did you check in?
well, two days,
Okay.
but it was a rough draft.
Okay.
And
Just had to pound it out.
we did, lady. We pounded it out. I mean, come on. It was a little getaway, also.
Wait. Universal Sheraton?
Yeah,
That's where I got married.
is it really? That's awesome. That's so funny.
Yeah. That's funny.
That's where we went.
And I
We-
lived in Santa Monica at the time, so it was kind of random that we chose the valley, but it had that rooftop, you know.
Yeah, it's beautiful there.
Mhm.
There are parts of it that's really beautiful.
That's very funny.
So we checked in Friday morning. We checked out Sunday afternoon, and when we checked out, we had a real rough draft of a script. And I was like, that's the way I would have to do it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to do it on this property.
And the dogs too.
At all.
Dogs are a part time.
Oh,
My dogs.
everything.
I have 3 dogs.
Yours? You should just scooping the shit in the backyard is a part-time
Yeah.
job for me. These dogs are like everywhere. It's
They're
everywhere.
enormous.
And they're huge.
And you have to stay on top of it.
And, oh my! I've done it twice today already, and I already found one coming here. I was like, seriously,
Yeah.
I've done this twice already today, and it's 1:00.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really good
Yeah.
perspective. What else good perspective can we have? Have you and your spouse talked about what life as empty nesters is going to look like for you at all?
Well, we have.
We'll have little discussions about it. Nothing serious, no.
No, you have.
No, I'm going to try because we have these dogs, but I can go on location with them the whole time. And I
Right.
love traveling. I
You do?
really do. I
Okay.
do. So I'm thinking when Isabel goes to college, I'm just going to like go with them.
Yeah. Are you going to bring your IBS dog with you?
That one's probably still going to be alive.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Well, someone's going to be in the house with the dogs, but I can go back and forth.
Yeah.
But we did talk about once, like, because that's always kept us home is the, is
Your
the
kids.
Yeah.
Same with me. I know Bert's like, are you going to go on the road with me? I'm like, I don't know. On the road with him is a different deal than in one city for 3 months. He's in a different city every day,
Yeah.
on a
I
bus,
couldn't do that.
on a bunk, on a
I
bus.
pick and choose the city.
No, yeah.
I would, yeah.
I'll meet you
Do
there.
some drop-ins.
Yes.
Yeah.
So some of it I will go.
Mhm.
I'll go more than I do now,
Yeah.
but I don't know that I am going on the road with Bert. No, I'll stay here and write. And
See, it is different
care
because
house.
he does land in really amazing places.
Yeah,
and we
I'm
get
sure.
really great places.
Yeah,
it is.
and you're there
Yeah.
for like a period.
like I didn't
of
get to go to
time.
Australia this year. I'm so mad. I'm like, dang it, COVID.
Yeah, right.
COVID. I was gonna say I'm never gonna go to no film in Australia. You know what I mean? This
Yeah.
is never gonna happen. I missed my one chance, and
Aw.
we were actually gonna go to Phuket.
Uh-huh.
My sister-in-law is a travel agent. She got us this amazing place in Phuket that we were all supposed to be Tracy's 50th birthday.
Yeah.
We didn't get to do that,
Oh,
and we were already gonna be in Sydney, so we were like
easy
halfway
peasy.
there.
Did
Like,
Matt go to Sydney?
yes.
He did.
He was gone for like 6 months. He missed COVID. He came back.
Aw.
He's like, what have you guys been doing?
What are you
Just-
all these masks?
sitting
Why do you
at
have masks
home
all
for
over the
6
house?
months?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, geez, just sitting.
Dude,
at
I was
home.
a short order cook. I was a janitor. I hated
Yeah.
that was hard doing high school in my house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? We were at our other house, and this room was high school because Isla Kreischer could not go to school in her room. And our house was so small, she couldn't go to school in our dining room. It was too distracting with the dogs, people in and out. There was nowhere for her to be but her own room. And I came in one time and she's asleep in class.
Yeah.
And the teacher goes, and the quiz begins now. And I go, Isla. She goes, Mom, I'm in the middle of a quiz. And I went, you're actually asleep. You're sleeping. This is over. As soon as this building got finished, they moved here. And Georgia drove them here every day. And they went to school every day at this desk, 2 people at this desk.
That's perfect.
And they had lunch in the cafeteria here. I was like, here's the Postmates account. Here's some salads from Trader Joe's in the fridge. Just deal with it. And I'm happy to help you. If you can't deal with it, let me know. I kept, snacks stocked and they went to school. So for me, from like November last year, they left every day and came back and were here. And I was
Isabel's
in and
a
out here lot.
vampire. She never left her room. We'd go up with buckets and take food. It's crazy. And we didn't have a housekeeper. But that affected us in COVID. I mean, like
I didn't have a housekeeper either in COVID. I mean, I didn't have anybody cleaning or doing anything, and no dog walker, no. Because before COVID, I had someone who cleaned my house once a week, and I did too. I did everything too.
And Matt actually worked out of the house at the beginning of COVID. They just brought Black Widow home, into the toy room.
Oh my God!
I know.
So Bert was so paranoid during COVID that I was the canary. So I was the only person that got to go to the store. I was the only person. No one else
Lucky you.
was allowed to leave.
You're
So
so
if
lucky.
it were purchased and brought into the house, I got it. Every single thing. He was like, I can't go.
That was Matt. Matt did
can't-
that.
I
He
can't
was
do it. I
crazy
can't do
too.
it.
He washed everything outside. He had a whole cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember that when you washed your groceries?
Oh, God.
Yeah.
You
Bert did
Lysoled
too, yeah.
everything.
Same.
It's just all so exhausting to think about.
It is. I'm glad.
I'm glad it's
we're
almost
through
over. Yeah.
That
That
part.
part.
I hope
Yeah.
it's over.
Well, if people would get vaccinated, I think
That would
be
help.
over. It would.
Oh, I
help.
did a test before I came, just so you know.
You
CVS
did?
has these awesome tests, and so whenever anybody is in and thinks they're sick, I'm like, take a test. Take a test.
Yeah.
Took a test before I came.
I just got tested yesterday because I have to go somewhere tomorrow that required one. So I'm
yeah.
negative. But
Yeah.
anything else we should say about this? Anything else about this topic? Any advice? Any?
I just think
Insight.
it's one of those things that, again, like, I think that it should be talked about more, and that it's actually like, it's real.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
prepare you, because nobody prepared. I thought I was a freak, and I even told Matt that. I'm like, I'm bawling my eyes out, going, I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm like, freak. I'm embarrassed.
Why are you embarrassed?
I know I shouldn't be, right?
No.
Because it's so unexpected. I'm not like thinking, oh, I'm so sad that I'm gonna go in a corner and cry. It just comes out of nowhere. You remember, oh my gosh, she's not here, and then it happens. But it is getting better.
So
Time
I found
away from
myself
it.
getting angry. So I'm emotional, but I'm also angry. I'm not angry that he left. I think I'm angry that, again, my job's coming to an
It's
end.
over.
Yeah.
Yeah, that it's coming.
That this is coming to an end. And am angry that I don't have anything much more, like more for myself, that I'm not
Interesting.
more prepared for this stage in my life.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Wow.
I was not.
That's really powerful, Jeannie. That's very honest.
Wait, did you know this
You know?
was going to be a stage? Because I was not. I
Hell
didn't know
no.
this was
I
going to
heard
be
menopause
a stage.
was a stage.
Yeah,
but I
knew
don't
that.
I don't know that I understood this, and maybe
Yeah.
it's part of it. I don't really know, but
no, it's not. But I think one of you said earlier that our age may have something to do with it. You know, I was 20. My dad was 22 when I was born.
Mhm.
So by the time I went to college,
Yeah.
he
they were
was
still
so
in their
young.
40s.
So
Yeah,
young.
he was
Yeah.
like, whatever. I'll see you in a week. But I think when you have kids later, I had my first kid. I was 33.
That's
You
so
have a
too.
different kind of like weight to it. It
Mhm.
means something different than I think it does when you're younger.
Yeah.
Just simply because you're younger and you're less experienced with life. You've had less life experiences to understand kind of what having a kid means. Maybe. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe that's an ignorant thing for me to say. I don't
Well,
know.
I will tell you,
I didn't
Leanne,
have them
you
when I was
knew me in
20.
my 20s. I was the most immature person. I remember I married my husband when I was 24. I did not know what to call his father because he was Mr. Schmidt when I was in high school.
Yeah, right.
So when on my 30th birthday, we just bought our house. I'm a homeowner with
Yep.
a full-time job.
Yep.
I'm like, I'm gonna call him Ron today.
Watch this.
Yeah, no, all day long, like it was over for
Mind
dinner.
blown,
And
yeah.
I think I might have like put a glass down and said, "Here you go, Ron." I ran into the kitchen. I did it.
That's
I was
so
like,
funny.
I am the 30-year-old. I am a grown-up.
That's hilarious.
That's so funny.
Maybe I'm ready to be a mother.
Maybe. Let's
Maybe.
see.
Yeah.
Let's
No, I
see.
was 32 and 35 when I had mine. It's just different. And then I think that like we had this whole thing in our 20s of like employment jobs, and then you have the kids, and then everything changes for them. And now all of a sudden I'm here and I'm like, what are
What
you
does
doing?
50 look like? Because we're in
Yeah.
our early 50s. What does this decade
Yeah.
mean? Because the 30s and 40s were kids,
Yeah.
right? So what are the 50s? What does it mean? And, you know, part of what I've started working on in preparation for this phase is, I think, my podcast, but I started working out with a trainer because I kept thinking I'm losing physical strength. And I don't want to be in my 50s and not be able to like get up after I've put clothes in the dryer.
Yeah.
Like I can't
Get stuck
I
on the sofa.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I cannot. That will make me more depressed than any child leaving ever. Just that I can't physically do simple things, simple
Yeah.
life things.
Yeah.
At this age, like if I'm 75, okay. But at 50, I was having trouble I was literally loading the dryer and having to pull myself up from the floor going, this is not okay. I mean, when I hit 50 and my kids are gone, I'd like to do things
Yeah.
with
Be
my
strong
life.
and
I'd like to go hike. I'd like to go traveling from time to time. You know, in theory, every 3 months, I could take a week trip with my friends or with my husband and go do something really cool. So I started thinking I should start preparing myself so I'm physically in shape.
That's
So
a good
that,
one.
I mean, I'm not obviously supermodel thin, but I could probably pick up this entire house by myself because I'm really strong. So that thing, I'm glad I started
Yeah.
when my kids were here because I don't know, maybe that's a great thing to start when your kids leave, to start focusing
And it's important
on
that you're doing
self-help.
something for yourself.
It's for myself. Yes. I protect
Yeah.
that, and I protect therapy tooth and nail every
Yeah.
week. Those are the 4 hours a week I never compromise on.
Right. And I think that self-care is something that we hear all the time. And it's just like, it's the same thing as like lump in your throat and heart at your feet and all of that. Self-care. You hear it all the time. Never did it.
Yeah, I
And
never
now
did.
I am too. I'm trying to focus on that more.
Yeah.
And I never put myself first. And now, and maybe that's part of my anger. I don't know. But like,
Maybe.
I'm trying to like put myself first more. And I'm doing acupuncture now. And I'm just trying to like take better care of myself.
That's good. And, you know, that's great for your kids to see too.
Yeah, just lead by the
Just
model,
see.
leading by example.
Yeah. I'm working out with my trainer. And if that conflicts with pickup, guess what? You can sit there for 15 minutes. I'll be there.
Right.
And you know I'm coming and you know where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
And 15 minutes is not going to kill anybody.
Right.
So that's kind of been, whereas when they were younger, I would not have done that just because they're young.
Yeah.
Right.
And they don't get it. But as teenagers, they can figure that shit out.
Yeah.
Walk next door to Gelson's and get a snack. I'll be right over. You know what I mean? You good. We're all
Totally.
good.
Yeah.
Well, I think this was super valuable. It was
Oh,
really helpful
thank you
to me.
for doing it. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it because I think it's
You'll
important.
listen to this next year and you'll be like,
You know, I have to tell you something with this podcast. There's been a few times where I've gone, I podcasted about that. I think I'm going to go back and listen to it. And it's something that I wasn't experiencing at the time that I was curious about. One of the things that's happening now is Isla is shuffling around friend groups. Nothing negative's going on. No mean girl. She doesn't gravitate toward anybody who's mean girl. She's changing. She's changing, and she's like, these people aren't getting my sense of humor. Like I'll say a joke, and they'll go, "Oh my God, are you serious?" And I'll go, "No, obviously I'm not serious." You know.
Yeah.
So she's like, I don't want to hang out with people who every time I say something goes, "Oh my God, are you serious?"
She's worried about
So not that she doesn't want to, but she's like, that might not be my best fit. I was like, I podcasted with Georgia and her friend Tatum when they started freshman year.
I totally remember that podcast.
And then I podcasted again with them at the end of freshman year because I wanted to see how they felt in the beginning and compare how they felt in the end. And in the end, Tatum was having some friend shuffling happening. And I said to Isla, you should listen to that podcast because that's what's going on for you. You didn't have a freshman year. Yeah. And it happens a lot in freshman year. So listen to that and see if it helps you go, oh, this is totally normal. And I thought, what a great thing to have.
The beginning and the end too.
The beginning and the end.
There's limitation of going in and what they're worried about. And then there's nothing like at the end of the freshman year knocking that out. You're not a freshie anymore.
Yeah.
Like that's the biggest thing in high school is not be a
girls
freshman.
missed it.
I know our girls missed it. But I am doing a beginning of the senior year with Georgia and Tatum and an end of senior year with Georgia and Tatum. So we're like full circle, all of high school with those two girls and their perspective because they're very different girls. Georgia and her friend Tatum are Tatum's she's a senior this year. Tatum.
Oh, maybe I did want to, but you know what? I don't because of COVID and I'm not on campus and the boost. I haven't been to a Mothers Guild meeting and since Grace was a junior in high school.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be so curious a year from now to re-listen to this and also for like Margaret and I to get together again
where we are.
and see how we are a year from now.
Drinking, by the way.
We'll do it at night.
We'll do a recap with Rosé.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, because you'll need
a little later.
You're gonna be crying
I know, right?
You're gonna be like, it's okay.
How's the emotional and the angry mother doing a year later?
Let's check in, guys. Let's check in.
That'll be funny.
Well, thank you so much for coming and talking about this. I really appreciate it. Really, genuinely. For my own selfishness, really appreciate it. But I think it'll help a lot of people too.
I hope so.
It would have helped me if I'd have heard, if I'd have just had this little seed planted that, okay, that's what you're doing. You know, not that, oh, you've completely lost your mind. Because I did kind of have some depression after Grace was born. And that was kind of normal. And I was home alone, and I was worried that that's what was happening. I thought, oh no, is this hormonal? But it's not. It's the lump in my throat. That's emotional.
It's a situational depression, maybe.
Yeah,
it's situational.
No, it's actually almost over. I just miss my baby.
Yeah, totally. Well, I will tell you, even if it's a lie, they miss you so much too.
You have not seen my child's post on social media.
That's what you want.
She's waited all of her life for these last 2 months.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
And that's what you want.
Funny because one of my friends said about the posting. I was like, oh, he never posts. Like he's a boy. He never posts.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, did you go into his tag photos? I was like, what? She's like, oh my God, his Instagram account hit tagged. And I hit it and there were all these pictures and I was like, thank you.
Oh my God.
It's all girls.
I used to
all these girls.
Of course.
I used to look at me like this child's on her social media. Now I like live for it. Did you post?
Yeah.
Did you post?
That's hysterical. That's so
true.
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are great moms. I'm so glad that you have this connection with your kid. They're very lucky kids. So hopefully they'll listen to this podcast and realize how lucky they are to have moms that love them so much. Because when you have a mom who doesn't, it sucks.
Oh.
It's not fun and it's not fun. So maybe that'll happen. They'll listen and go, wow, that's
my
amazing.
mama cried. Isabel told her too. She texted her, mom's crying. And I was like, oh my God. And then that night, so I went upstairs to her room just to put things up. And I just laid down in her bed and I slept in it.
Aww.
And Isabel comes by in the morning. She's like, you slept in her bed?
That's so funny.
And then I see her texting Grace, that crazy woman.
You're my mom. It's so funny. I go in George's room. I go in both my kids' room and hang out for a little bit. a couple nights a week, just for 5 minutes. And I've been getting in George's bed and saying, you realize when you're gone, I'm going to spend a lot of time in this room. And she goes, why? I said, because I'm going to miss you so much that this is you. I'd be
Yeah.
like crawling inside your soul for a minute. And so I'll be spending a lot of time in this room. And she's like, creepy.
Yeah, totally.
It's not creepy. You'll
It's
understand
not.
one day.
She will.
You'll understand.
I think
Yeah.
might not until like I never understood anything until like
You
until
had
my
them.
kids were born. I was like,
Exactly.
oh, I learned a lot of things in my 30s.
Yeah.
And I just do think we joke about it all the time. It's always such a joke
Mhm.
that we don't like. And maybe we joke because we know it's going to hurt, but it's no joke.
It's no joke. This pain is no joke.
And let me tell you what, maybe I was naive. I didn't think it was going to hurt. I thought I was going to have a party. I thought this was going to be awesome. And I thought I was going to celebrate the fact that I got her into the school she wanted.
Right, right.
And I'm so thrilled with the academic scholarship she got. That's like, I can't even thank her enough for that. Like,
Yeah.
I really thought I was so proud and this was so great. It never occurred to me that I would miss, especially because COVID, because she was just always there.
Yeah.
It was like,
That's a
you
double
again.
whammy, I think, because we had them there so
You're
much.
right.
It's a
That's what
double
it
whammy,
is,
yeah.
too.
It's a
I
big
think,
part
yeah.
of it, yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys.
Thanks, Leanne.
All right.
I'm so
Love you
glad to
guys.
See, I'm so
I
glad
know.
to finally see this place has been coming together for years, I feel like.
You're right. It has been years, literally. This
You and I have
November will
been
be
under
2 years.
construction consistently for 15 years.
Forever, yes,
Yeah.
forever. Well, I miss you. I only see you like once a year, maybe,
Yeah.
which is really ridiculous. So the good thing about kids, no kids, is that we can
Yeah,
travel
no excuses.
There you go.
a little better.
You
yes.
come my way, I'll come yours.
Sounds good.
'Cause
And I
Israel's
miss you
a
too,
car
lady.
I know.
We used to see each other at school all the time,
time.
all like almost daily.
Yeah.
And then I see you not that daily.
Not enough.
Not much. So that's a good thing to look forward to.
Yes,
empty
it is.
nesters,
It is.
to
It is. That's
see
when
friends.
I imagine that's what I'll do for myself is spend time, like actual
Yeah.
time with my friends
Yeah,
rather
totally.
I
than
hope
people
so.
who have children that are the same age as my kids.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, with your friends. That's the thing. It's hard to go to because my kids'
Yeah.
life.
No, it is. It's like I
are
couldn't come
here.
here. Because
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
don't want to pull them out of their life necessarily. So it makes it hard. But
It
anyway,
does.
If not this time next year when Leanne's sending her babies off.
I
or
know.
right
You
Yeah,
just
one
let us
day.
know if we need you. We'll be
okay,
here.
thank you, thank you,
I will.
thank you, guys.